Human storytelling is a quantifiable dataset. The narratives we consume and repeat shape global markets and drive real-world behaviors on a massive scale. Writers rely on shortcuts to communicate complex ideas quickly. A trope is simply a recognizable pattern, a shorthand that audiences instantly understand without needing heavy exposition. Think of the loyal dog in cinema. When a pet steps in to save its owner against impossible odds, the audience already knows the emotional rhythm of the scene before it even plays out. The same applies to the adventure genre. If a hero pulls a golden figurine from a pedestal, we expect ancient traps to trigger. We have been trained to anticipate the danger. In entertainment, these predictable shortcuts keep us engaged. But when deployed in digital information markets to oversimplify complex societal issues, they become effective tools for manipulation. Online, cinematic formulas mutate into socio-political rhetoric. We see this through recurring patterns, like a deep skepticism towards scientific authority or the wicked fairness argument, which claims a double standard is at play. These rhetorical shortcuts are especially dense in highly volatile spaces. Recent analyses show they heavily populate online discourse surrounding both vaccine implementation and immigration policy. The current moderation infrastructure cannot handle the volume. Human fact-checkers are drowning in millions of daily posts, making it physically impossible to manually track this kind of emotional manipulation. This volume has created a demand for automated trope detection, a method of quantifying the recurring narrative patterns that shape online behavior at scale. This clear market deficit has triggered an architectural competition. Engineers are currently deciding how to build this detection infrastructure. Do they rely on massive general-purpose engines or deploy smaller, highly specialized tools? Two opposed architectures are attempting to capture this detection market. On one side are the heavyweights, zero-shot large language models. These are the massive parameter engines, including the 175 billion parameter ChatGPT and Llama 3.8b. The zero-shot strategy attempts to solve the problem through scale. Operators prompt the engine with generalized instructions, relying on the model's vast size to identify tropes without any prior specific training on the dataset. On the other side are the challengers, fine-tuned specialists. These are smaller, highly optimized architectures like COVIDBERT. Rather than relying on brute force, the fine-tuned strategy requires intensive supervised learning. These models are trained strictly on a targeted dataset of 3,300 manually labeled social media posts. Researchers ran both architectures through an automated detection performance test, grading them using an F1 score, a metric that balances precision and recall. The massive LLMs struggled. They suffered from high rates of false positives and proved extremely sensitive to prompt variations, scoring 0.32 and 0.23 respectively. This chart shows the performance comparison across the three models. The specialized models significantly outperformed the generalists, securing a dominant F1 score of 0.65. In the nuanced business of analyzing human manipulation, massive parameter counts are inferior to targeted, specialized training. The generalists failed primarily because they overfit on specific keywords. For example, they frequently flagged the word forced as immediate proof of a liberty and freedom trope, missing the wider context of the post. The specialized models possess a structural advantage. They successfully categorize overlapping human behaviors without becoming confused by similar vocabulary. This heat map displays the correlation data from the vaccine dataset. The dark purple sections indicate that these distinct tropes operate independently of one another, without significant statistical overlap. Looking at the structural pattern of this grid reveals a counterintuitive discovery regarding cross-sector training. This is the correlation grid for the immigration dataset. Training an artificial intelligence on immigration texts actively improves its ability to detect tropes in vaccine discussions, and vice versa. Competitive advantage in the sector depends on cross-sector performance. The data suggests that the logical framework used to categorize one social issue is transferable to others. Returning to the macro perspective, this automated mapping capability is now a proven technological reality, but it introduces a primary systemic risk. Models trained on limited datasets will inevitably learn and then reinforce existing sociopolitical biases. When these biases scale, they lead to the unequal treatment of specific demographics and can amplify disadvantaged voices based on faulty pattern recognition. There is also a secondary security threat. Malicious actors can reverse engineer these detection algorithms to craft stealth misinformation campaigns, shifting their language just enough to bypass the AI entirely. Without proper safeguards in place, deploying this technology risks suppressing legitimate dissenting speech under the guise of automated moderation. The current market outlook is clear. Specialized, fine-tuned models hold a significant lead in accuracy for narrative detection. To deploy them safely, developers must mandate continuous algorithmic auditing and utilize highly inclusive training data to mitigate the technology's inherent risks. The perceived competitive analysis is strictly for educational purposes and does not constitute investment advice.